Hey there everybody, welcome to another episode of Bert's Bike, and today we are talking about the rider modes on the BMW R18. Now, if you're curious about this, you're probably wondering how the power feels on an R18 and how the different ride modes feel. Well, honestly, I've spent most of my time on this bike in the standard roll mode, so today I'm going to try and explain as best I can how the different ride modes feel, and hopefully that'll give you some kind of an idea of what this bike feels like to ride in those different ride modes. All right, with that said, let's jump into it. All right, let's start off in rain mode. Right away on slow speed, that throttle response is so tame. Okay. Works okay. Here's where you really notice it at slow speed, and when you kind of get into the meat of the gears, the roll-on is just so tame. So at this stop sign here, when I first got the bike in my first video, I actually killed the bike going around that corner here. In rain mode, I had switched from roll to rain, and the throttle response was so laggy that I killed the bike, compensating from going from rock to rain mode. I didn't compensate for it. Yeah, right away it's just really gradual the way the power comes on, and you know, I don't know if I'd ever use this mode for rain mode. We'll see, because regular roll mode seems to be pretty laggy already in that first to second gear shift. The roll-on power here. Alright, I mean, it's still really usable. A little tame, I guess. And where you really notice this stuff, you know, is when you're at speed and you need to add power really quick. So naturally it's going to be a really nerfed version of the standard mode. Lots of guys like to ride in rock mode all the time. I guess you could call that sport mode. So we'll see how this feels. Alright, here's a weird kind of uphill turn coming up. This is where I really notice the laggy throttle is on anything but a straight shot. Yep. So right now I'm like halfway throttle, and I felt like I was about to kill the bike. Whew. Okay. So if you have a really heavy hand, rain mode could be good for you in the actual rain, or just as a, you know, I guess a beginner tool to get used to the response of the bike and gradually work up to it. But honestly, I don't see very many beginners picking this bike as their first bike. So once you get into the meat of the gears, when you're actually at speed, the throttle response is pretty intuitive, and I'd say it feels about like roll, I think. Also, what this rain mode really mitigates is that sort of jumpy throttle whenever you're going from open to closed throttle on this bike. So due to a lot of emission stuff, bikes kind of have that jumpy throttle with the open closed position. Not so in rain mode on this. You know, I mean, you really gotta romp on it to get it to do that. Here's where it gets a little wonky here. I'm almost halfway throttle here, and I felt like I was almost going to kill the bike. So I've had the pleasure of riding this bike in the rain many times, and honestly I don't know if I'll ever really use rain mode. Let's see what else. Alright, we're in roll mode, and I'm not sure if it changes the idle at all. I didn't hear anything kind of change on that, but you know, give roll mode a shot. Alright, right away, an increased throttle response there. And this is what I'm used to with the bike here. Yeah, increased response in the lower revs. Going around these corners feels very intuitive, natural. Yep, just a nice smooth kind of linear power. Although when I first got the bike, I can't tell if it's the clutch engagement point or the vagueness of it, but I found myself like under gassing it at low speeds. We'll see how that goes here in a couple of these stop signs. Yeah, kind of find this is a pretty comfortable mode for just a good mix of riding, but mainly a more chilled out kind of pace. Okay, roll on is actually pretty good, but I do notice some lag in the throttle whenever I roll on. Like you roll on and there's still a little bit of noticeable lag. All right, let's see the roll on here from second gear, or first gear now. All right. Yep. Way more responsive. Yeah. You really feel the bike kind of working with you at that point. And the roll on these curves is pretty gentle, I would say, so it's nothing that's going to catch you out mid-corner. Just kind of a nice, easy roll on and maintaining throttle here. Man, this bike is just such a blast to ride. Let's see how it does with our uphill sharp turn here. Alright, so predictable, but I didn't feel myself under gassing at that time. I think that's because I'm just really used to riding this bike, but a lot more intuitive than rain mode so far. You know, I really wanted to do this video because I actually took this bike on a highway trip up to Clarksville, Tennessee the other day, and I did the interstate the whole way, and I found myself, once I got up to speed and I was kind of at a cruising pace at fifth or sixth gear, you know, 70, 75 miles an hour, I found myself kind of like working to get the bike to respond a little bit. So I'm curious to really analyze this rock mode here. The sharp turn I used to be able to take really aggressively, but they've dug up part of the road, so there's like 2 bumps in the middle of it now. So it's just a little unsettling if you're at kind of maxing out your lean. Kukunk. Oh. Yeah, I feel like there's this point in the throttle in both modes where, like, once you get past halfway, the power kind of kicks on. So, you know, naturally a little less in rain mode and a little bit more in roll mode. Alright, so we're in rock mode now. I'm not sure if the bike idle changed or the character of it changed. Maybe a slight difference? Maybe it's just in my mind. Go from roll, and then rock. Yep, you can feel something shifting in there, so I don't know what that's all about, but maybe some of you guys can let me know in the comments below. Alright, right away, clutch engagement point seems to be a lot more immediate, and the power, oh wow, that's maybe 20% throttle, maybe 15-20%, and the bike already feels like it wants to take off. Yep, right here. Yep. Now the power response feels a little bit more like my Z900. The bike is noticeably way more peppy. And if you're coming from other bikes, I think, wow, okay, so I'm actually riding the bike differently. Yeah, power is just so much more immediate. And you can see that the bike starts moving at just, you know, right away when you crack the throttle open. I'm liking rock mode. Whoa, what is this guy doing? Whoa. I feel like the engine braking is a little bit more so as well on this. Okay, first gear. Way more intuitive on the slow stuff. Feels to be more in line with other bikes I've ridden. Feels like you're getting to the meat of the power so much faster. I mean, I'm barely cracking on the throttle here. Woo, baby. I'd say that's the biggest difference. With your slow speed, you're going to really notice an increased control of the clutch and throttle relationship. Let's roll it on here. Yep. Power is so much more immediate. Whoa, okay, cool. I think they really tuned that rock mode really well. You know, thinking about it now, I feel like the roll mode could have, you know, maybe been like 10-15% more. And then the rock mode, I think, is perfect. All right, yeah, the really slow speed stuff I think is easier in rock mode. Let's get on it. Yeah, I mean, I'm picking up speed super fast, even at just a quarter throttle, not even. So yeah, I can see why so many people love riding this bike in rock mode. It does really change the riding dynamics of this motorcycle in a great way. And you know what? They probably could have just made this bike with the rock mode only, and it would have been just fine. Really not a huge fan of different rider modes. I'd rather just have a really well tuned or mapped out normal mode. But I mean, I guess the option works really good. I guess one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of rider modes is because my first bike that had, I guess, any real rider modes was my Indian Chief, and it would just freak out sometimes and not even want to change modes. It would just lock you out of it at random moments. When you add a bunch of tech to something, it's just more things to go wrong in the future of the bike. But you know what? The BMW electronics just seem to be really well engineered. No surprise. Alright, last roll on here. Yep, you can really feel it. The full power of this engine just throw you back here. It's just really great. Woo! Awesome. That's all three modes back to back. I really feel like I will almost never use rain mode. Really, there is a distinct difference between each ride mode. A distinct difference. Now, here at idle on rock, I really feel like the bike, you know, is shaking a little bit more, and the engine maybe isn't so nerfed from the beginning. That's probably why you get that increased throttle response at slow speed. You can get used to a mode really quickly, and that's part of the reason why I don't really prefer bikes with multiple modes. You can kind of forget to compensate for each one, but I like the fact that they're there. See, I feel like I'm almost killing the bike there. That's just going from roll. Whoa. I might just keep the thing in rock mode all the time from this point on. We'll see. Yeah. I'm with you guys. Keeping it on rock mode is definitely the more fun option. Woo! So I think I might put it in rock mode for a few days and see how I get on with living with it, but it's a ton of fun. I love this bike. What a great motorcycle. Home run BMW. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment below. It's Bert's Bike, and I will catch you on the next one.